Hi, my name is Bhoomika, and in this chapter we're going to be studying about the heart and the process of circulation. So I'm going to start with the anatomy of the heart. The heart is located between the lungs in the middle of the chest, behind and slightly to the left of the breastbone on the sternum. A double-layered membrane called the pericardium surrounds the heart like a sac, and the outer layer of pericardium surrounds the roots of the heart's major blood vessels, which is attached to the ligaments to your spinal column, diaphragm, and other parts of the body. The inner layer of the pericardium is attached to the heart muscle, and a coating of fluid, it separates the two layers of membrane, letting the heart move as it beats. So because the heart is not supposed to be rigid, it's supposed to contract and relax at regular intervals. It is not supposed to be rigid, and that is the reason why this fluid which is present between the two layers, it aids in its movement. The heart has four chambers. Upper chambers are the left and the right atria. Atria is a plural term, the singular is atrium. And the lower chambers are the left and the right ventricles. A wall of the muscle which separates the septum, called the septum, separates the left and the right atria and the left and the right ventricles. The left ventricle is the largest and the strongest chamber in your heart, and the left ventricle's chamber walls are only about ½ inch thick, but they have enough force to push blood through the aortic valve into the body. Okay, so diagrammatically, let's start out with the blood vessels. This thickest one that you can see here is the vena cava. From the top, it is the superior vena cava, and from the bottom, it is the inferior vena cava. The superior vena cava is also termed as the cranial vena cava because it collects the blood from the top part of the body, and the inferior vena cava collects the blood from the bottom part of the body. So that's how the blood, the deoxygenated blood from different parts, it moves into the right atrium right here. And from the right atrium, the tricuspid valve, it is called so because it's got three cusps. Okay, so these cusps, they open with the help of the chordae tendineae, which are these fibrous strands which help in the opening and closure of the valves. They pull these cusps, and that is how the deoxygenated blood, it reaches the right ventricle. And from the right ventricle, through the semilunar valve, it moves into the pulmonary arteries, and these pulmonary arteries, they take this deoxygenated blood to the lungs for oxygenation. And then this oxygenated blood, it moves through the left and the right pulmonary veins. You can see the left pulmonary veins here, right pulmonary veins here. So these enter the left atrium, that you can see the topmost part here, and through the mitral valve or the bicuspid valve, it moves into the left ventricle, and from the left ventricle, it is pushed out into the main artery of the heart, which is the aorta. And the aorta, it kind of has three uprisings from it. This is the aortic arch, which gives out three subsequent arteries. The first one is the brachiocephalic artery, which provides blood to the head region, and then we have the left common carotid artery, which is the second one right here. It goes to the jaws, and then we have the left subclavian artery, which goes to the clavicle. So that is the reason why when the heart is undergoing an attack or an infarction, a myocardial infarction, it hurts in the shoulders and the jaws and the head like that. Moving on, we'll study a little bit of points about the valves that we just did, because the valves are very important. The tricuspid valve regulates blood flow between the right atrium and the right ventricle. Pulmonary valve controls the blood flow from the right ventricle into the pulmonary arteries, and it carries the blood to the lungs to pick up oxygen. Then we have the mitral valve, which lets oxygen-rich blood from the lungs passing from the left atrium to the left ventricle, and the aortic valve, which opens the way for oxygen-rich blood to pass from the left ventricle into the aorta, eventually to the body's largest artery. Okay, let's talk about circulation here. We have the deoxygenated blood, which comes from the veins, the superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava, right, that, and which reaches the right atrium like that. Then from the right atrium, the deoxygenated blood moves into the right ventricle. All whatever you're watching in blue is representing deoxygenated blood. Now this deoxygenated blood from the right ventricle goes through the pulmonary artery. This is the semilunar valve right here, and through the pulmonary artery, it goes to the lungs. In the lungs, oxygenation takes place, and from the pulmonary veins from the lungs, this is oxygenated blood which comes to the left atrium. Now this oxygenated blood from the left atrium reaches the left ventricle, and through the aortic valve it goes to the aorta and finally into the rest of the body. So that's about circulation in the heart. There's one more important topic that we need to know about the heart, which is the conduction system. Now if the heart is just placed inside your chest like that, it won't work, of course. So also, like all the rest of the organs, it also has an electrical conductive system which controls the contraction and relaxation processes which take place in the myocardium. So electrical impulses from the heart muscle, the myocardium, causes the heart to contract. This electrical signal begins in the sinoatrial node located at the top right of the atrium. The SA node is sometimes known as the heart's natural pacemaker. An electrical impulse from the natural pacemaker travels to the muscle fibers of the atria and the ventricles, causing them to contract. Although the SA nodes sends electrical impulses at certain rate, your heart still may change depending on the physical demand, stress, or hormonal factors. Okay, understanding it diagrammatically, we have the electrical system of the heart here. As you can see, this node right here is the sinoatrial node, or the SA node, or the natural pacemaker of the heart. This initiates the normal sinus rhythm. Now this sinus rhythm reaches the atrioventricular node, or the AV node, which is present somewhere here, through these three branches. The first one is the anterior internodal tracts, the middle one is the middle internodal tract, and the bottommost one is the posterior internodal tract. So now that the rhythm has reached the atrioventricular node, the AV node, it kind of terminates into the bundle of His. Now the bundle of His, it kind of branches into a left and the right bundle branch. The left bundle branch goes to the left atrium, and it kind of gives out multiple successive branches to give rise to Purkinje fibers. And you can see the conduction pathways going to their specific areas, and then we have the right bundle branch which goes here. So this is how a heart, the lower ventricles of the heart, they contract, and how specifically this is done, it is because of the electrical system of the heart, the conduction system of the heart. So that's about the heart. I hope you could clear out all your confusions to the aid of this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. Please follow me, rate me, recommend me, and that's all. Yeah, thank you.